So a DNA test was done to determine if Jesse really was the father of Kaylee, and the lie detector test determined Jesse was not the father. Devastating news to Jesse, who still wanted to work it out, but in May of 2006, Jesse broke off their engagement, saying that Casey's behavior was becoming more erratic and she was becoming a different person. So they broke up, and a little bit of time goes on, and Casey is just ready to start dating again. So she starts going out there. She's like, I'm gonna go out and just I just want to dance. So she's going out and partying a lot with her friends. Now, while she's out, that's when she meets this guy named Tony, who was an aspiring DJ. That's gonna work out real well. So the two are dating, and Casey would bring Kaylee over to his apartment that he shared with his roommates, and they would spend a lot of their time there. Casey was still living at home during this time with her parents, and Casey's parents, they helped take care of Kaylee. They gave her her own room, they fed her, they clothed her. They pretty much took care of Kaylee as much as they could. So according to Casey, on June 15th, 2008, there was a heated argument happening within the family. The next morning, Casey left with Kaylee for a work trip to Tampa, Florida. She was angry and she did not want to come back home, so she packed like a bag as if she were going to stay for a while. The one thing we know for sure is on June 16th, 2008, that was the last day that Kaylee was seen alive. So Casey had told her family that she was going to be gone for a work-related trip to Tampa, right? Okay, so what really was going on was that Casey, she ended up leaving with Kaylee, right? She headed over to her boyfriend's apartment, but when she got there, Kaylee wasn't with her. When asked where Kaylee was, she always had an excuse. She was either with the nanny or she was just somewhere else. She was always somewhere else, Kaylee. So Casey would end up staying at her boyfriend's house for a month. And every time she spoke with her mom, because her mom would call her up, be like, hey, how's it going? How's Kaylee doing? Where's Kaylee? Can I talk to Kaylee? Every time her mom would ask, Casey would have a different excuse. Like, oh, Kaylee's with the nanny Zanny, or Kaylee's sleeping, she's taking a nap. And her grandparents, they were getting more and more concerned. Like, it's been a month. Where are you? And where's Kaylee? During this month vacation, I guess, Casey began partying more than ever. She participated in a sexy body contest at a local club, and she was out drinking with her friends what seemed almost every night. Again, her boyfriend, the guy that she was seeing, he was a DJ, so wherever he was at, that's where she was going. So at this time, MySpace was very popular, so she would be posting pictures of her out partying, dancing on bar tops. She's just like, yeah. That's what she probably was doing. And then she also got a tattoo that said Bella Vita, which means beautiful life. She was doing well, like most people do in their early 20s. But where was Kaylee? So Casey's parents, they gave her their car for her to use because she didn't have one. So she was driving this car around, using it for quote unquote work-related stuff and to make sure that Casey had transportation, right? They're just trying to take care of their daughter. So they let her borrow the car. So one day Casey drives down to a check cashing place, and at this time, she literally made it there on empty fumes. She was running on fumes, right? So she gets there and she runs out of gas, but she cashes her check. No, this is all the money that she has. And she realizes oh my gosh, getting the car towed to a gas station is going to cost me my whole check. I can't do that. So instead, she decides to just abandon the car in the parking lot. She doesn't realize how much her parents are helping her. And then she's just slapping them in the face. Anyways, so she decides that's her best option. I'm just going to leave the car here. So she does that. So some time passes and people working in the check cashing place realizes this car's been in the parking lot forever. We have to call the tow truck and get it removed. So they do that. They get the car towed out of there, right? And it goes to the pound where they call up George, Casey's father, and they say, hey, we have your car, it's impounded. This is the vehicle and this is where it's at. George, for good reason, is like, what the heck? Why is Casey's car there? Okay. So George goes down to pick up the car and figure out what the heck is going on, right? He gets to the pound. He pays the money to get the car out. And then the guy who's working at the pound takes him out to the car. So the two of them are going out there together. He gives him the keys. George says that he opens up the car door And he says that both of them got a whiff of a pungent smell just coming from the car. And the worker said that it smelled like a dead body. Now, I personally have never smelled a dead body before, which I think is probably, is a blessing. But based off of everything I've read and researched, it sounds like you can't mistake the smell of a dead body. It's a very distinct smell. Like you can't confuse it with something else. So George ends up taking the car home, pissed. Him and his wife, Cindy, are pissed because first of all, why is the car in the pound? They have to pay the fees to get the car out. Now George is like, dude, the car smells like a dead body. So he comes home. He tells Cindy, hey, come here. Come smell the car. So Cindy comes out. She smells the car. She agrees that it's a pretty intense, foul odor. They pop open the trunk and they see a trash bag. So Cindy said that they didn't open the trash bag. They just threw it away. Then she said that she used an entire bottle of Febreze on the inside of the car. They left all of the car doors open to help air it out. This is according to Cindy. So again, naturally, George and Cindy are just super pissed. Not even super pissed. They're furious. Why did she just ditch the car? Why didn't Casey say anything? Does she not have a car? How is she getting around? Where's Kaylee? I mean, all these thoughts are going through their head. And Cindy just wanted answers. So Cindy tries to get a hold of Casey, but she's not having any luck. So her best bet is to go find her. Last she heard, she was at her new boyfriend's house. So Cindy goes down there to the boyfriend's apartment. Now, when Cindy gets to the boyfriend's apartment, she knocks on the door, right? Okay, so she goes inside. She's like, where's Casey? And they take her inside to the living room. Cindy says that she looks around and she just notices a bunch of drug paraphernalia all around. And it was morning. So they're just sitting there getting high. And it wasn't even lunchtime yet. And Cindy's like, she walks in like, what are you doing? Where's Kaylee? Where is she at? Why isn't she here? And then Casey told her mom that Kaylee was with the nanny, Zanny. So Cindy's like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I can go pick her up. Where is she? I haven't seen her in months. Where is she? Casey's just getting more and more defensive as her mom is there questioning her in front of her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friends. Let me just do this liner really quick and I'll be right back because I can't do it. Cindy tells Casey, come on, you're going home with me. Grabs her and tells her that they're going home. Casey was feeling super irritated because she just stormed into her boyfriend's like, how could you? That's so embarrassing, Mom. In front of my DJ boyfriend. Cindy and Casey go back to the family home, and Cindy calls 911 to report Casey for stealing the car, then abandoning it. Cindy ends up calling 911 3 different times. The first time she calls 911, she's like, this is a quote, I have someone here who I need to be arrested in my home, and I have a possible missing child. I have a 3-year-old who's been missing for a month. End quote. On the phone call, Cindy says that Casey needed to be arrested for stealing her car and her money. So Cindy is just waiting for the police to show up. She's pacing around the house, and that's when she overhears a conversation between Casey and her brother Lee. So she's listening in. Casey tells her brother that she met Zanny the nanny at the park to give her Kaylee, and when she arrived, Zanny held Kaylee close to her, pushing Casey away, saying that she was taking Kaylee away from her and would not be giving her back. So Casey is telling this to her brother. Her mom overhears it, calls 911 again, thinking that now there's been a kidnapping that's taken place. On the phone, Cindy is demanding to speak to an officer and says that she had just learned that Kaylee was taken by her babysitter and has been missing for a month. So on this call, she says, quote, I told you my daughter has been missing for a month and I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. There's something seriously wrong. I found my daughter's car today and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car, end quote. So while she's on the phone with 911, Cindy is trying to push Casey to hop on the phone and talk to the 911 dispatcher. And she's growing frustrated because Cindy is on the phone, worried, panicking, trying to figure out where her granddaughter is. And Casey was calm. She seemed irritated and annoyed that her mom was doing this and making such a big deal out of it all. And she kept telling her mom that she didn't want to talk to police. She didn't want any of this. Now Cindy is pushing her and pushing her. Finally, Casey gives in and speaks to the 911 dispatcher, saying that she knows who has her daughter, but the phone number she had for the nanny was a number that was no longer in service. house. But earlier that day, the nanny let her speak to Kaylee, and Kaylee was okay. Casey told a dispatcher that Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez was the name of the nanny that had Kaylee. Casey said that she had spoke to the nanny on July 9th on the phone, and then again on July 15th when she allowed her to speak to Kaylee. Casey told her brother Lee that she had been communicating with Zanny through MySpace and was getting instructions from Zanny on how to get Kaylee back. Casey said that Zanny told her she would get her daughter back on Kaylee's birthday. To Cindy, it's just like, this is the dumbest story I've ever heard. Like, why are you not more concerned about your daughter?